It was a failed itinerary. After spending 3 days in Rome, it was time to move on to the next city. I booked a train ride from Rome to Florence through the Train Italia website. It cost about 60 euros. One and a half hour later, I was at one of Florence's most iconic landmark and UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Piazza del Duomo. This stunning architecture consists of a cathedral, a baptistry of St. John, and a bell tower consisting of 414 steps. It was about closing time, but what's a trip to Florence without visiting the leather market? But be careful, try not to get scammed here. For dinner, I had some seafood risotto and watched some entertainment. So yes, no idea what he was saying, but he was very well into his performance. The next thing I know, I was staring at a naked statue, something you can't avoid being in Italy. This one is called the Fountain of Neptune. Then it was time to grab my favorite cocktail before turning in for the night. On day 2, I trod up to the Piazzale Michelangelo, where it offers a stunning view of the Firenze skyline and more naked statue, the sculpture of David. I then took a 1-hour train ride to Pisa, which is commonly known for its Leaning Tower, another UNESCO World Heritage Site. Just about 20 minutes walk from the train station and we are here. Now look at this beauty. This is the Cathedral Square of Pisa. There we have the Leaning Tower. Very beautiful. This was my awe moment. Now this we can see is the cathedral and the baptistry right there. Now, the part I enjoyed the most was watching everyone trying to coordinate the perfect pose with the Leaning Tower. Now look at this. This was so funny actually. And guess what? I was no different. I was right there with them. Here you can see a view from inside the baptistry. You'll definitely need to purchase ticket to enter here. This is inside the cathedral. On the other side of the cathedral, there is a cemetery and a museum. And now it was time to climb the Leaning Tower. I'm about to climb. The bell tower is tilted at an angle of about 4 degrees due to a faulty foundation. If you're claustrophobic, maybe this is not for you. But 294 steps later, we were at the top. Now look at this view from the top. This is the city of Pisa. After leaving the tower, I had the best lasagna of my life from one of the corner shops. I wasn't able to document it, but it definitely hit a spot. Okay, story time. Now, look at this beauty, right? This was day 3 in Florence. This day, I got dressed to go to a Chianti wine tasting experience, which I booked through Get Your Guide. This experience was scheduled to start at 2:30. So I got up early in the morning and head out for breakfast. And by the way, I was invited by my host. I was staying at an Airbnb hosted by a nice elderly couple who invited me to have lunch with them this day. But there would have been a clash in my schedule, so I had to reject the offer. So I went out for breakfast, made a few stops, and head to the meeting location. So I was at the meeting location about 1 hour before the time of departure. 30 minutes before departure, that's when I went and I checked in with the host. I got my tag, I got their contact number and everything. And when it was just about time for boarding, I informed the host that I was going to use the washroom because it's a long drive, so I wanted to use the washroom first. She in turn showed me where the washroom was. Went to the washroom, back to the meeting location, and guess what? They were gone. There was no bus, there was no host, and there was no other tourist who was going on the same Chianti wine tasting trip that I was going on. And I got back to the location 5 minutes before the scheduled time of departure. So I called the number that I got on my sticker, and then they informed me that the bus was already 15 minutes out. So I'm like, why is it that the bus is 15 minutes out when it's scheduled to leave at 2:30? It is now 2:25. Also, I've already checked in. So is it that you did not do a head count before the bus actually leave? Because if it is that you're telling persons to check in at a particular time, then I would assume that you need to keep track of all the persons who have been checked in. So yeah, it was quite a disappointing experience. I was actually very livid. Long story short, I was refunded for the trip, but it doesn't matter, like, it's the experience, because this excursion should have been one of the highlights of my Florence chapter. It was one of the main reasons why I decided to go to Florence or to stay overnight in Florence for this trip. And yeah, it did not go the way I wanted it to go. But you know what? I think it happened for a reason. After it happened, I was looking back and I'm saying, you could have left me in Chianti. You could have brought me there and you could have left me there, because it shows that you don't have a structure with handling large groups. You need to be doing your head counts. If there's somebody missing, you need to be checking your register to see or find out who is the missing person. And also you have our contact information, so if there's somebody who is missing, then the next step would be for you to contact them. And I'm happy it happened at this time, because I think it would have been even a worse experience if I got left in Chianti after going there. Anyways, I went back to the Airbnb and I rested for the day. Then in the night, I got dolled up and I took myself out for dinner, and that was day 3 in Florence. Now, how could I leave Florence without visiting one of its most famous Instagrammable spot, Babes, where I can order my favorite cocktail through a little window in the wall? So I had to make a quick stop, collecting my Aperol spritz and a quick picture moment just before I head back to the train station to get to my next destination. And that was it for my trip to Florence, Italy. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more travel content. Would you add anything to this itinerary? Please share with us in the comments below.